Oh, here we go again. Hey, everybody, here we are again. Yes, we are here again and again and again. God,
and again.
we really do need to take a break. I think this is becoming like an actual part of my life.
Well, yeah.
I can't have that. I can't have that. I've got too much going on. I can't have a podcast taking over my life. That's going to be too much of a problem for me. Maybe if I could just pretend that we're talking and there's no cameras, that'll be all right.
I don't see any cameras.
I don't see any cameras either.
Okay.
Oh, I see a camera. Oh, God. Oh, God.
Oh, man.
Anyway, it's your two dads, and we're here again. We're here to talk about some dad stuff and
Yeah.
some other stuff. And
Back to our old ways.
yeah, it's our old.
from the jump ways.
Yeah, I did not. The importance of it did not hit me until now. But this really is like an old school type of way of doing things.
Yeah.
We haven't done this in a long, long time.
From the Attitude Era or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, you're here. We're using like real cameras. We are. I mean, obviously, we're doing things a little bit differently because we've learned lessons over time. But
Yeah.
it is good to get back. It feels like we're home again.
Yeah.
Feels like a warm blanket, like a warm blanket just out of the dryer.
Yeah.
Yeah, on a cold, cold night where you've just got fucked in the ass by a stranger. And you're. Oh, by the way, this is not suitable for work, but this is your two dads. I'm Corey, and this is Dan.
Hey, yo.
This is our weekly video episode, and we are unfortunately without Sam. We're going to miss him. I'm sure there'll be times where his logical nature and his rational way of thinking would bring us back in, but unfortunately, we're going to be talking about poop and, all kinds of crazy shit.
Yeah.
Poop and shit. That's pretty much it. That's what this show's
Pun
about.
intended.
Yeah. Raising kids and then poop and shit.
Yeah. And there's times where, like, I'm not going to be able to make it, so.
Yeah. That's one of the reasons I keep it at your two dads, because there's, like, never going to be a stretch where everybody's here. It's always going to be somebody missing for work, or, like, you guys and your fucking work.
Hey.
I don't know, whatever, dude. Whatever. Fucking work. Why don't you just quit like me, and we can do this all the time. Maybe then we'll be a success. That's good. I can say it, right? Just trust me. Believe in me. I'll do it. Say it in your brain and pretend that I said it.
That's right.
So our big issue today, and that it's a big issue because it's something we're dealing with. We're currently going through this. We're worried about it constantly. I'm chewing my nails. I would if I did. And I do whatever it is that I do when I'm nervous. Get sick, throw up, I don't know. Smoke more weed. But it is socializing. Yes, put that one in a reel.
$10.
Socializing our children with other children.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's how you'd put that, but that's how I put it.
That's how we're going to put it.
Yeah. And we are trying to figure out the best ways to do this. We're kind of feeling our way through it. We both have one kid apiece.
Yep.
And we really are, at least I am, not getting advice from anybody really on how to take care of this. I'm kind of trying to make my own way.
Yeah, I mean, like, there's no scientific proven method other than to just not make them, but socialize them. But, like, how we're going to try to tackle how we go about it, because it's not easy having only one kid. I mean, if we had two each, or like if you had two or I had two or we both had two, they can learn from each other, kind of thing. Kind of like our guests. I've been listening back to some of the older ones, like most of our guests, when we ask them about potty training, and this is not a knock on them that have multiple kids, like, oh, well, they saw big bro sis do it, and they're like, I want to be like them, so it was easy, and I'm sitting here like, you motherfuckers. Like,
yeah, that doesn't do me any good.
No, that does, which I appreciate that, that tidbit, but it's like, we have one kid apiece.
Yeah, like I remember, I don't remember which guy, but it was like, my only advice, or the only thing I could say is that, when it's time to happen, it's going to happen, or some shit like that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, well,
Thanks.
I appreciate that. That's encouraging to know that he won't shit himself.
I've got some news on that front, though, for later in the show.
Okay, good to know. Stick around to the end, folks, no matter how bad we suck.
Yeah.
So
that will be good. Plus, everybody's favorite dad joke.
Yeah, for the dad joke. You got to stick around for the dad joke.
And I have a surprise for the dad joke today, so.
Aside from the fact that we don't know what it is?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Especially if you don't know the answer, it's going to mean even more.
Oh, all right, right on.
Yeah.
Well, I very rarely know the answer. So, as far as techniques, as far as how you're starting this off, what are you learning or what are you trying so far? What's working in your house?
Well, she has some male cousins. Yeah, cousins. It's my wife's niece's kids. So whatever that is, like blood niece, not married niece.
Second cousins?
Yeah, I guess second cousins. I don't get all that.
I
Third
don't know.
cousin.
It means they can have sex.
Well, yeah, hopefully not, but Anyway, she's got three cousins that we're not like super close to them, but I mean, they hang out, and one of them's a little younger than her, kind of like your son's age. One of them's a little older, maybe like a year at the most, maybe give or take. And then one of them's, I think he's 5 or 6, so he's a little older, and he's already into the phone and stuff. So he says hi, and he does what he wants,
And then goes about his day.
Yeah, but anyway, but the other two, like especially the older or the middle one, he's pretty good because he can talk a little better than she can because he's older. But he's like, come on, Maddie, come do this, or come play with me over here, and let's play with these cars, or this. No, this is how you, like, if she's struggling doing something, this is how you do it. And so he's a sweetheart with her, and he's trying to help her learn, I guess, or he's just trying to play with her, and not knowing that he's teaching her how to interact with other kids, and so that's one way we do it. And we also have two neighbors. Well, we have multiple neighbors, but two in particular that I can think of. It's funny. The one of the husband of one of the women he drives the trash truck that picks up the trash where I work. So it's kind of cool. So I know him, and every time we get together, me and him just kind of go off and let the women talk, and we stand there and talk. And but they have the guy that picks up the trash at our work. They have a little boy, and then their immediate next door neighbor has a little girl, and they're both about a year old. The little girl just turned 4, and I think the little boy is like 4.5. So they're a little older, but so we try to, I think one's a nurse and one does something that isn't, I'm not going to say not steady, because it is steady work. It's just her hours fluctuate. So it's hard to, hey, let's get together on such and such day. It's kind of like, I need to see my schedule first, and then we can get together. So it's kind of like, oh, hey, we're outside right now if you want to come hang out, which is cool because, we don't usually do much when I get home unless, we've got stuff to do. But normally it's just run around and chase the little one and make sure she's not getting into trouble. So usually we, change her up and put her shoes on, and we can walk down, within 10 minutes after they text us. So, and that's what we've been doing a lot more lately. I mean, we went down there the other night, this week, and then sometimes I'll bring Madison down if she's like, I want to go for a walk, and if they're outside, they'll be like, come on over, and we'll stand around talking, let the kids play. But that's what we're doing, and it seems to be okay, as long as one of us is there to, like, sometimes she'll want the toy that the other kids are playing with, and that's part of socializing your kid, is learning how to share, because it's just her and us, and we don't want to play with her baby dolls and stuff. But so that's, hey, no, it's her turn, you got to let her, and sometimes when the other kids come over, immediately when she picks something I was playing with, it's like, no, it's her, let her have a turn. I'm not trying to boss their kids around, but I'm trying to show my daughter that, hey, it's okay, play with it, and then you get so long, and then you have to share. So that's a long-winded answer. I ramble. I know you wanted to talk about working on rambling, but damn. Well, anyway, what do you got on it?
That's all really detailed and just completely wrong. It's terrible. You're doing it all wrong.
I know, yeah, bad.
I'm going to tell you exactly how to do it.
Okay.
So
just lock them outside.
The right way to do it, yeah, is you take a truck and you push it in their chest and then you push them out the door. No,
don't make friends.
It would be nice if we, like you, had kids around his age that were nearby, but we do not. We have some kids up the hill here that are twice his age, 3 times his age. They're definitely in school already, riding bikes and such. So we're a little bit limited on that. I think that's part of our problem. And in addition to that, we don't have a lot of friends with, kids, period, let alone kids his age. So for the most part, it's been going to the park, going to one particular friend who does have two kids. Basically, he sits in between them as far as age. And then on top of that, I will actually play with him. We have unintentionally, intentionally, these things kind of blend because you put it on when they ask for it, so you're kind of supporting it and kind of pushing it. But he's into monster trucks, and they have those Monster Jam trucks that you see at Walmart and stuff. Yeah. And somehow he got on to getting a couple, and then he got a couple more, and now I buy one for him every time I see one he doesn't have.
Yep.
And so we play that together sometimes, and all of these kind of add up to half of the battle. And the main issue with us, and I think the main issue that people think of when they think of socialization, is sharing.
Yeah.
And when it comes to that, we are still encountering quite a bit of resistance for the majority of the time, whether it's me playing with him or him playing with strangers at the park, adults, whatever. I usually pick a nice group of adults and kind of shove him over with them and let him play with them. As long as I don't know who they are, I feel like that's the best way to do it, because he gets to meet new people, and I get to work on my trusting nature, because I'm very distrustful of people. So I feel like if I can learn to trust him with my son, then I can learn to trust anybody, Yeah. So it's really for both of us. But, adult children, whatever the case may be, he does have a problem with wanting whatever they have in addition to whatever he has. It's not even like a swap type of situation. It's, hey, you've got that shovel and I've got this fork or whatever, whatever. You find some crazy things at the sandbox at the park. But, I want both of those. And you can play with your fucking wiener for all I care. And it is the biggest part of the problem for me. I know that I've been told that he will, develop out of this mentally on his own, because emotions are, kind of really coming into play at 2 years old.
Yep.
And empathy is something that comes kind of later on.
Yeah.
So that's really what you're kind of trying to push, is the empathy, because that's when they're able to put themselves in that other kid's shoe, that other strange man's shoe, and know that you're not supposed to take that sand pail away or that beer, or whatever that they're playing with. Let them have it, and if they want, they can share it with you.
Yeah.
And you just kind of, I don't know, you can kind of work on it as you want, or you can let it kind of come in on its own. I feel like, for me personally, trying to work on it at least makes me feel like I'm doing something. If you wanted to let it develop just naturally, I'm sure it would, but it's going to be a big headache.
Yeah.
I basically, that's about the long and short of it for us. Try to put them in with other kids that we know, which are few.
Yeah.
And try to play with them ourselves. And I have, like I mentioned before we started, a few tips, tricks, what have you, that I would be willing to share with the audience. If they were cool. If I thought they were cool, I'd be willing to share.
Hey, man, you cool? You cool, man?
He means, do you smoke weed?
Oh, well,
And you're supposed to say the rest of it exactly.
I know. I can't remember it. It's been so long since I've seen that movie.
I'm really, really disappointed, and I don't know if we can continue to be friends.
But
But before I get into this list of what come from experts at a much higher level of education probably than me, do you have anything else that you wanted to add to the topic?
Yeah, you hit on something that we've actually tried to do. The whole switch or trade with me or them. Like if she has like you said, if she has the fork and wants the shovel, we'd be like, hey, if you want that, you need to trade. And of course, no, I don't want to do that. But eventually, if she wants it bad enough, she'll trade. And even we do that with us. Like if she wants, like you said, you get down and play with yours. I do the same with mine. I know my wife does too. We both do. But like if this happens more so like when we're coloring. If she wants that color crayon that I have, like if I'm coloring, even if it's a black crayon or blue or whatever, she wants it. She doesn't care what it takes. And I'm like, well, give me yours. And no, and she'll put it in her left hand and want mine or whatever and take it. I'm like, no, give me yours. Trade with me. And we've tried to. They kind of sometimes at least my daughter clings on to certain words like more and no and stuff like that. But if we try to go with trade or switch or something like that, she trade, and we trade back, and she gets what she wants, and then whatever. So that's my tip, that if you're like, at least like me, and from the sounds of it like you too, don't have an awful lot of friends or awful lot of opportunities to socialize your child, then and you play with your child, and you're doing that stuff. That's one of the things that I can tell you. It's at least working a little bit for us. And she'd be like, okay, switch, and she'll repeat it, and stuff like that. So, and the whole, back to a earlier episode, manners too, like switch, okay, and you please, thank you, give it. That's another a way to teach them that too.
Yeah, yeah. He it seems that when he doesn't want to share is when he won't say please and those sorts of things. It's really all kind of tied together into his mood.
Yeah, oh yeah.
I think that just depending on when I catch him, it's when he's going to be most susceptible to proper behavior. But with that complaint being out there, a small criticism of probably everybody's child. I'm going to run through these pretty quickly if we haven't already touched on them. These come from romper.com, which doesn't really sound like a children raising website, but whatever.
Nope.
So, number one, we've got have realistic expectations. I think that's pretty self-explanatory,
Yeah.
If your child's 2 or 3, they're not really going to be good at these sorts of things.
Nope, and don't expect it overnight.
Yeah, you're going to have to spend a lot of time.
Like with everything else.
Yeah. So, number 2, we've got scheduled play dates with other kids. We both touched on that. I think that's a quick way to fix this problem. The more they're playing with other kids, whether there's problems, whether they have fights at the time or whatever, the more that they're around other kids, quantity of times, what have you, the better it's going to be, the faster it's going to resolve itself, and they'll learn better how to do these things. So number 3, find a group or a class to attend. Doesn't really give any sort of example of what you could do here. Maybe you take your kid. I know that our local library has like story times, things like that. So maybe you take them just something like that. Get them out around kids where it's not necessarily about playing with objects, but just exposure.
Yeah.
And
and other kids. Yeah.
Playing just in general. Whatever game.
Yeah.
And then get that foundation. Move on from there. Number 4. Let them see you socialize. Man, I don't know how much problem with this word. Let them see, you and your wife, you and whoever, playing with toys or what, mimic sharing between you and another person.
Yeah.
And be like, here, watch us share, Maddie, or, whatever the case may be. And, let them see like that, because how quickly they learn by listening. I mean, they've got to be learning just as quickly by watching and seeing.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Now, this one is, this one kind of falls in line with let them do naturally. This allows them to figure things out themselves. Let them cry, let them hit, let them do all those manner of things. And I think that in my personal life, that's going to be kept to a minimum. I'm not telling you, what to do. I'm not telling our listeners what to do. But I think that, I'm not going to let them spend a lot of time figuring it out. Like, there's going to be times where I'm like over here smoking a doobie or jerking off, and he, checking Facebook, and he will get in a small childhood scuffle, with whatever kid he's trying to steal something from. And that will be, I guess, a growing moment for him. But at the same time, I'm not going to finish jerking off or to, finish smoking the doobie before I go over there and stop that.
Right.
I'm going to put my dick back in my pants. I'm going to put, the J out, and I'm going to take care of it, as soon as I find out. I'm not going to let it go on until, one of them gets a scratch on the face or, whatever, kicking each other in the shin, whatever.
I think it's, to that point, I think there's you not pick and choose, but there's certain things they do need to figure out for themselves. Like, oh, you don't want to listen to me that the stove is hot? Well, if I can touch it and find out. And, oh, well, you got burnt. Maybe you won't do that again. Like, that's kind of where I'm at. But, yeah, if you start beating on my kid, like if your kid starts beating on my kid, I have half a mind to go whoop your ass, Like,
I'm more and more of that mind myself.
Like,
it's not
yank your child off of mine, not hurt your child, but just grab him by the shirt and pull it and set him off to the side, and then I'm going after you.
Not necessarily so much in, on the playground as a 5-year-old, but as a, if your 16-year-old boy is picking on my 14-year-old boy, well, I hope you can fight too. And you may kick my ass, but you're gonna know that we fought.
Yeah.
You ain't gonna forget it ever. So, maybe after that you'll have a talk with your son
Yeah.
and get him to stop doing
Yeah.
what he's doing.
Yeah.
Because I can pull him off, like you said, if I see it happening. But if it's happening at school or whatever,
Yeah.
then I'm not going to be able to do anything about that.
Yeah.
But I will be able to do something about that, and I probably will. I mean, I've got nothing. Like I'm self-employed. I've got a really super supportive wife that just doesn't know any better. Like she could do so much better than me, and she just doesn't get that through her head. So like, it wouldn't hurt me to get a small assault charge.
Couldn't they all do better though?
Yeah, mostly. And that's not because there's a better guy out there. It's just because we could all individually probably be better.
Yeah.
But yeah, I could do with one assault charge, maybe two. It wouldn't take many for me to get a reputation amongst the other parents where they're like,
Hey,
don't
man.
fuck with his son.
Yeah, exactly.
He's gonna come over here with a knife.
Hey, and my record is pretty clean, so
Yeah, I would get away with the first. They'd probably throw the first one out.
be like, I've done the same thing.
Yeah, and then the second one
Hey,
would probably
mister,
just be like
Come on
community
now.
service.
Come on now. You can't be doing that. I agree with what you did, but
Yeah.
you can't be doing that.
So, I mean, take a risk if you want. So number 6, they got utilize sports casting, which basically means talking it out with your kid when they reach over there and like, no, that's mine, or
Yeah.
like Jack is his thing is my turn. It doesn't matter if he wants what you have, it's my turn.
Yep.
And so you speak the words to him. You say, hey, that's not yours, that's theirs, or this is something that you have to share, or whatever the case may be.
You have to wait your turn.
Yeah,
That's what
like
we do.
treat them as if say small words, short words, like you talk to them normally, but say it to them.
Yeah.
Like they may not understand, but say it anyways.
Say with your chest.
Yeah, say with your chest, and like they will get the tone, they will get the message.
Yep.
And more often than not, they'll get a whole lot more than that because they're always smarter than we think they are.
Oh yeah.
They be the mediator, which is basically we already talked about. Get in there if you have to, and if something escalates too much, then start kicking ass. Give them the breaks. I think that is, well, let's just read it and see what it says. Okay, so give them the breaks is poorly titled. It just means let them have alone time and let them play by themselves. I don't know what that's going to do as far as socialization. Ignore that for the most part. And last but not least, most important maybe, is trust your child. You got to trust that they're going to pick this up.
Yeah.
Don't get frustrated, overnight because we had one bad day. It's going to be a long process, but you got a smart kid. You got a kid that's going to, develop just like every other kid.
Yep.
And they'll eventually pick this up and they'll be sharing, STDs just like everybody else. Toys and herpes. So don't worry about it. It'll be all right.
One thing too, I guess, we're still a little young. Our kids are still a little young for this, but mine's getting pretty close. Getting them involved in some sort of, it kind of touched on like you said, the library, and I didn't want to cut you off because you were on a roll there, but like sports, like even like there's I think it's like 5 and under soccer or 6 and under. I don't even know. It's been so long since I've even had to deal with that. But the neighbor that he works for the trash company that he comes and gets our trash at work. He was saying, hey man, I coach, I think it was soccer. I think it was that he said, and I live near some soccer fields. They're just a little further down from my house, but he's like, yeah, we go down there, and it's they're too young to know what winning and losing is really, so that's fine. But yeah, he said I think she has to be 4, I think, to be able to do it, and she'll be 4 next spring, summer, in the middle of that. So he said, and I think that's a way, maybe not the sharing part. Well, I guess, yeah, if you're playing like a team sport, yeah, you got to share the ball. Basketball, football, yeah, but she's not going to be playing football, well, unless they have a girls' league. Soccer, and so, you have to share the ball. You can't always have the ball, but it's more of the being social and meeting new kids and playing with other kids. Some organized activity, and my brain immediately went to sports because I played sports as much as I could in school and as young and as growing up. So
Yeah, good point. Good point. Sports would be a pretty good way to just, like I said, kind of fall into letting them socialize themselves.
Yeah, because
They
it's
are,
something that you don't have to. I mean, it's not lazy parenting, but you're going to be there obviously watching them, but you don't have to. You're dropping them off, and you're like, here you go, and then there's so they're going to learn. It's not like they're just going to. Well, I mean, yeah, they're kids, but they're going to run around, but they're not going to have you there right over their shoulder. Oh, now do this. I mean, they're going to have a coach if they if they go the sports route, and he's going to, if he or she is any good at coaching, shape and mold them. And
they will shape them with their hands in the bathroom, as all coaches do. All of them pedophiles. Anyways,
anyway, so they won't have you, so it'll be good to listen to another version of authority too. But that'll be good.
Yeah, and if nothing else, if they can't share, maybe they're really good at the sport and they're Kobe or Michael or whoever, and they don't need to share.
Yeah, or maybe they can play like golf or tennis or.
Yeah, then you don't have to share there either.
Or even baseball, like.
Yeah. I mean, about the only time you have to share is when you're both trying to go for the same fly ball.
Yeah.
Just share some space.
Or if you get a ground ball and try to throw the guy out, but if you want to win.
I don't know how that's sharing the glory.
Well, you got to share the ball. You can't just hold the ball.
Oh yeah, you got
to throw it to first base.
Yeah. That's part of baseball is throwing the ball to where it has to go.
Yeah.
You can't just be the pitcher and like take the ball and be like, no, just stand there with the ball, not throw it at.
No.
That's probably not going to get you very far.
My ball catcher, but that's how we. Nope, my ball.
Yeah, if you're in the major leagues and you're still doing that, how'd
you make it?
Yeah, how did you get there? I don't understand it. But that's about all I've got about socialization. It's not something that we are far enough in that I'm seeing a lot of growth yet, so I can't give you, super firm advice about this thing right here is definitely working.
Mm-hmm.
But it appears that what we are doing is fall in line with what you're doing and what the article said to do. So I am encouraged with that, and I think that just keep on keeping on, and it'll be one of those things that works itself out.
And it seems to be, at least helping. I wouldn't go as far as to say working. Like, she's not, oh, you want this? Okay, here you go. Like, she's definitely not, no, she's mine. And then you have to step in and say, no, you got to share or switch or trade or, like I was saying earlier. But it's, the seed is planted and the sprout's coming up a little bit. So
and
it's starting. She's starting to get better about not getting so pissed off when you make her give up what she wants and trade or share or whatever.
Any little bit is going to help. As long as she shows a little bit of difference today than she had last week, that's all you can hope for.
Yep.
And just keep in mind, hey, they're kids.
Yeah.
So that's it's hard for me to share sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm 60 or whatever, however old I am. So socialization, kids, adults, parents, everybody. It's something you got to worry about, but it's something that apparently you don't have to worry about it at all because it's just going to work itself out. Just put them out there in the playground and turn your back, and they'll socialize themselves.
So I guess your shove them outside with a truck and lock the door was what we need to do.
Well, it would be if like the neighbors had younger kids. Well, if I had more of them around, then I'd just be like boot little Jackson outside and be like, hey, I'm gonna do whatever. I'm gonna play with your monster trucks while you're out there.
Come on, get back.
Yeah,
like we used to.
Or don't, whatever.
Whatever.
But speaking of toys, that brings me to our next topic, which is another oldie but a goodie. We're bringing these back because we're bringing this all back. This is all original.
Oh, okay.
This is all about going old school, and what is more old school than a good old grind my gears?
Oof, it's been a while.
It's been a while, and that's because it's been a while because we're awesome dads who never complain.
Yeah.
It's really hard to find things to complain about when you're as gracious and patient and just empathizing as we are.
Yeah.
Because we just are really easygoing. We're like the water, as Bruce Lee said. So we rarely ever get angry.
And it doesn't hurt to have perfect kids either.
Yeah. But with that perfection comes the occasional mistake that kind of gives the lie to the term. But at the same time, that's small mistakes. They don't take away from the overall perfection of your child.
No.
And the reason we're bringing this up this time, the reason we're having to grind my gears is because we're both going through this at the same time.
Yeah.
And it is toys everywhere, toys all over the place. If you're a fan of my TikTok, if you're not, follow us. You're two dads,
Yes.
and you've seen my reels about the. It looks like a firefight.
Yep.
There's an explosion, toys everywhere,
Yep.
and it is something that at the end here we're going to get to what we do and how you might could do things on your own if you're encountering this or about to encounter this. But for a little bit of background, why don't you tell us how things stand at your house?
Well, we have two main places where toys are freaking everywhere. The living room, of course, and then we have a carport that we enclosed, and that's where we sit and chill when it's nice or whatever. And she loves, little one loves to be outside, which is awesome, thank God. So, the carport and the living room are the two worst places because she's got to have toys everywhere she goes. And basically, we try, this is really the only thing I could think that we do to not prevent it, but to help alleviate some of the, God almighty, it's a mess again. Like, we will make her help us pick up stuff. Like when she's, like if we go outside, for instance, if we're inside like in the morning and then, oh, hey, she wants to go outside. So we go outside, be like, hold on, pick up your mess, pick up your toys, or whatever. And as long as you don't tell her to do that and then walk outside or walk into a different room, I've learned that right now, eventually you tell her and she'll do it, hopefully. But right now I have to get down and like if I start doing it, I say, come here, come help me pick up your toys. And I mean, I get the big stuff but I make her I make her help. She doesn't do half of it, but it's fine. But as long as she's helping and realizes, hey, I got to put my stuff back, like that's the connection I'm trying to make. So that later on when I tell her, hey, clean up your room or hey, pick up your whatever, when she gets to be, well, at 14, 15, she's going to hate me anyway. So. But when she's 8 or 9, maybe she'll still love me. But
that's the hope.
Yeah, I can tell her, hey, no, pick up this, pick up that, and she'll do it, and I don't have to go and start doing it. So I'm trying to plant that seed. So that's what we do, and then like same thing in the other way. If we're going inside and she's left a mess on the carport or whatever, I'm like, come on, you got to pick up your toys. Help me pick up your stuff. Now the yard, we have a fenced-in little. It's nothing fancy, please. I'm not bougie. It's freaking cattle wire, okay, with those posts you have to drive in the ground, like. It's not fancy. But anyway, so like her soccer net and,
just so you know,
her soccer
ball. I really am poor.
Yeah. Her soccer ball, her basketball, her little basketball hoop, or, all that stuff it just kind of stays in the yard. Her little water table. She's got one of those little plastic houses that she plays with. And that stuff, I'm not too worried as long as I don't have to mow. But when I do mow, I kick the stuff out of the way or make her help me sometimes. Most of the time I just kick it out of the way because I'm in a hurry to mow because I don't like to, but I do it because you got to do it. That's part of being an adult. But anyway, yeah, we try to make her help us pick up her toys, which sounds awful, but it's the start of what I feel you have to do for later on. What do you guys, that's all I got. What about you guys in your household?
Things fall in line pretty similarly at our place. We have the bedroom where the toys should be for the most part, and then we have the living room where the toys are for the most part. And that depends on the day, really, how bad it is, because sometimes he doesn't drag stuff out as much. Sometimes I will pick up as it happens. Sometimes I'm feeling a little lazy and I don't. And I make a TikTok about how bad it looks. But it is something that we are working on, just like you. It is natural. Kids want to play. And one thing that I will mention kind of out of order, but I'll forget about it if I don't, is the outside toys. The stuff that you have outside, we don't really have anything outside. We have that water table that I should move back downstairs, but I just haven't yet. But for the most part, even things that should be outside, maybe like his basketball goal, they're just all inside. And so that does make it a little bit easier when it comes to confining them all to one place. Yeah. We will keep him from taking anything small outside because there's it's a strange amount of holes in our yard. It's almost like we live in some sort of I'm thinking of a movie that I used to watch as a kid where like this hole went all the way to hell. and we got like multiple like tunnels, multiple portals because this place is just so damned. But we found like toys in them. He would throw cars in them, and some there might be some that we didn't find.
Yeah.
But like his favorite thing to do was to take like a Matchbox car or something outside and throw it in one of those holes. And I think we got, like, in all honesty, I think we have maybe one, two, maybe four, because one of them filled in, and there is still a car in there. And so we stopped him from taking out anything small. He can only take out big things now, and that's easier to keep track of, easier to, find if he should try to throw it. And for the most part, they tend to be things that he keeps more interest in, like the size of it. He's more likely to walk back in with it,
right,
as opposed to leaving it laying somewhere. Don't know why that is. Maybe his short attention span is just harder to forget about it. But there is, that advantage to things. We don't have to clean up a large area, but it is everywhere. Sometimes inside the house, you'll find things in the kitchen, and you'll like go to bed at night and pull your blanket back. There'll be cards there under the sheets.
Yep.
So when it comes to cleaning up, we have done virtually the same thing you did. The only difference that I can determine just on the surface is we watched together multiple times, just, by happenstance, that video with Miss Rachel where she's like teaching them to put their toys away, put it in, put it in, put it in.
Yeah.
So we will, sing that right along with him, and like you helped, or we'll start putting them away, and then usually he just joins right in.
Yep.
And his enthusiasm with it will vary. Sometimes he will help us finish whatever it is that we're trying to do. Sometimes he will put in a couple and then walk away. But that like everything, it is a process, and the fact that he does that without very much persuasion is a good thing in my mind. So we got that going for us. At night, we have this thing we do that seems to be working pretty well. Any toys that have not yet been put away, when it's bedtime, we tell him, we have a period of time before bed, whatever, that we will tell him, all right, it's time to put your toys to bed.
Yeah.
And he will, usually it's something my wife does where she will help him kind of like line them up in the corner, or, put them in groups. And oftentimes, though I don't know if she's been doing it as much lately, but oftentimes she'll actually physically put a blanket over them as if she's putting them to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
And he will, like, it's the cutest thing. He'll say, night truck, night fire truck. And then, this is totally off topic, but we have entered that phase that you're in where he doesn't want to go to bed at night.
By himself?
Yeah.
Ooh.
We basically just...
You have to lay down with him?
No, when you're down, you're fucking down. Like, I know that you don't do the let him scream thing. We do the let him scream thing.
Damn.
I
mean, is it like blood-curdling scream, or is it just like whining?
It can be pretty bad at first.
Dude.
And when you first walk out that door, it can be pretty bad.
Yeah.
We're getting off topic, but I just
Anyway.
thought I thought you'd like to know that we have also entered that. We simply have nowhere to sleep with him, though.
Oh, yeah.
If we bring him into the bedroom, which we would almost love to do, is sleep with him. It sometimes, not every time, but sleep with him in the bed sometimes. I think that'd be awesome. Have him cuddled up next to you when you wake up in the morning. But if you take him in there, he's like plays. He just wants to play around. We can't. We tried to. We went through a small stage where we would rock back and forth in the chair that we have in there, and that became just another place that he would play. So really, you just got to put him in there, and then as long as we're rubbing on him, like rubbing on his leg, rubbing on his back, whatever, he will, he won't be going to sleep, but he will be fine. He will lay there in the dark, generally lay there. He moves around, he talks, but the moment that you stand up and walk away, he's like, "Daddy, cuddle. Daddy, no go." Like this, the worst thing. It's just
breaks
like,
your heart.
yeah, yeah, and then you're like, "Oh, I love you, buddy," and then you close the door, and he's like, "Nah!" You can almost sense the devil coming out of his mouth because it's something so just loud and vicious. Could not be anything but demonic. But that was pretty well off topic.
I was gonna say I have something for that, but we can save it for later.
Yeah. So we'll come back to that. Maybe I don't know if it'll be a grind my gears because it's not something I'm angry or frustrated about. It's just something I feel really bad about.
It's just part of it. I mean, I remember my parents, mostly my dad, laying down with me until I fell asleep.
Oh, okay. So you can remember that.
Well, it was, I was. It's not that I needed him to. I was like, can you, hey, just till I go to sleep, or 5 minutes, or
It's crazy how far back we can remember sometimes.
Yeah. I feel like,
I can't remember yesterday, but I can remember when I was like 4 or some shit.
We're gonna get off topic a little bit, but when were the Monday Night Wars? What year range?
90.
I was really little when that happened.
It was like hardcore going on. Like NWO started 96, so 97, 98-ish. Like I guess WCW probably won 97. Maybe that would have been the year they won.
96 was when NWO formed.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was about, because I was born in 90, so that's 6 years old ish when that happened. So about 97, 98, because I can remember. It's way off topic, but for the listening audience, my dad and I would do the Wolfpack sign, Too Sweet, and then he would do the For Life. Like we would do it like an air high five, but as he was walking out the door, we would do the Wolfpack wolf with your hand, and and then he would for, and then I would do the life, or vice versa.
Right on.
And yeah, the Too Sweet, and
they're not allowed to do that anymore. They got in trouble. They do this thing where they're like guns up, and they'll hit their hands together, or there's another faction that does the freaking OK sign, and then they'll hit that together. But only the WWE, they copyrighted the Wolfpack sign.
Really?
Yeah. There's another faction, yet another faction of the Bullet Club that does do the Wolfpack sign, but they're not allowed to hit them together.
Really?
Yeah, like I guess they're it kind of looks like they're giving the devil horns.
The rock fist.
Yeah, but they always did it, so that's what you're doing.
Yeah.
But they're not allowed to touch
like they used to.
Yeah. So.
And they can't do For Life either.
Well, they never did.
Oh.
So.
'Cause I know that was Hogan's.
Yeah, that was a thing. I used to do that shit all the time.
Yeah.
For
Still do.
life.
I do it with my dad all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. So toys everywhere.
Yeah, toys everywhere.
You will like the socialize.
You're going so good with that word. I wasn't gonna say anything.
Like the socialize it. Well, it's like I get started and I'm not sure if I want to say socializing or socialization. So I say them both, and that's not going to work. So, pretty much, I feel like at our stage, you really don't have a lot of problems that aren't just going to fix themselves.
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, if your kid is like healthy and developing like they're supposed to, then these things they all just kind of take care of themselves.
Yeah.
It's really just a matter of how much effort you want to put into it to, make it easier for you.
That's we had when we were kids. We had to learn the same thing. We just don't remember.
Yeah, I mean this is basically why we have these other parents on that have like real problems and stuff to talk about.
Yeah,
because otherwise it's just going to be like us joshing about like 2 and 3 year olds and like being funny.
Yeah,
and I mean we're going to have some dedicated fans, like fucking 15 of them.
Hey,
but no one really like you got to have real problem. When my son is like fucking shooting up heroin, then I'll have something to talk to the podcast about.
Yeah.
But for now, hey, he's gonna fix his own problems. That's just the way it is.
Pretty much.
Yeah, I mean the whole sleeping thing. We might come back on that. We'll see what we learn there.
Yeah.
That will be something to look at because we are both taking that from a different angle.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that goes as far as severity and length and what have you. But with that being said, we're gonna move on to our next to last topic, and that is another dad of the week. I was going to do a real human being, but I just am not I've not like got the memory, a good enough memory of what was actually said to me to relay the details in order to really give them the spotlight that they need, to give the story that really backs up their award as dad of the week. So I'm going to save them until I edit those episodes, and we will then, be able to award them as they are properly deserving. But for now, I'm going to give it to another dad that, in my mind, properly deserves it too. And this dad is, he's a dad that didn't spend a lot of time with us. We weren't really with this dad in real time for very long. Relative to other dads in our lives, we probably saw this guy for a much shorter time. But conversely, he's actually been around for a lot longer than most dads. And as confusing as that sounds, it's going to make a whole lot more sense here in a second when I tell you the dad of the week is Andy Taylor from the Andy Griffith Show.
There you go.
The man was only on TV for 6 seasons, something like that. Yeah. So real time, he only spent, a fraction of our lives teaching us and learning, learning us, as they would say in the show, how to be good dads and handle those issues and tackle those obstacles that our kids go through with just aplomb and wisdom and nary a mistake.
Yeah.
Andy Taylor from the Andy Griffith Show was just the perfect dad.
Pretty much.
If he made a mistake at the beginning of the episode and he had apologized for it by the end and was making every effort to make up for it.
Yeah.
Opie, as lame as he was, he is clearly a good kid, and the only reason why at such a young age is because of his dad. I mean, he didn't have anybody else that would be that influence that, you could give credit to. His mom fucking, died of herpetogonosyphilis when he was born or something like that. So he didn't have her in his life. And Aunt B was just a fucking drunk that virtually just kept the house clean and cooked at night.
Yeah.
So all he had was Barney, which was worse than dog shit, and Andy, which was a goddamn saint.
Yeah.
So Andy Griffith, Andy Taylor, you are our dad of the week, man. I do appreciate it. I know that you are, long dead, and you're not going to see this up in heaven because God doesn't play podcasts. I heard he's against podcasts. Small tidbit there. I know that you probably didn't know. You probably thought God liked podcasts. He doesn't. He likes the radio.
Hey.
So that's he's old school like that. So
somebody's got to keep radio alive.
Well, somebody's got to do it. It's going to take him and probably his power to make it happen.
For sure.
So maybe when we get on internet radio, he will listen to us then, and Andy will go back through our catalog, and he'll know that he is this week's Dad of the Week. Thank you, Andy Taylor, for teaching us to be better dads. And that is my small addition to this wonderful episode. But you're about to give us a much bigger addition, a much more important part, a much greater ending than I could ever bring. So give us that dad joke. What original content did you write up for us this week?
All right. Did you hear about the guy that was addicted to the hokey pokey?
No, I didn't.
No? Well, he turned himself around. Yeah, not good, but it's definitely a dad joke.
Yes, it is definitely a dad joke.
But before we stop this, I had to bring this because I am the champion of dad jokes.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
Are you seeing this?
See? I am the champion of dad jokes.
Okay. All right. So what does it mean to be the champion? Who did you beat to get that belt?
I'm the first ever.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And that's history here, folks. History.
You saw it here first.
Whoa, the first ever dad joke champion.
That's right.
This is awesome. And you know what? We did not share with people the new segment name. It is not just dad joke blah blah.
Oh yeah.
We now have sponsored. It's sponsored by Monster. Unleash the Beast. # Monster Energy. Whatever.
For all your dad energy, because God knows dads need it.
Dad fuel, baby. We all need
That's
it.
Right.
And Monster brings it in those large, pretty red cans. Cans of all colors and sizes, really.
Yeah.
I don't know about size, but colors. So, anyways, the new dad segment is named Dapper Dan's All Original Dastardly Discount Dad Jokes.
That's right.
Yes. And if you don't have that memorized yet, well, I'm going to count.
Listening.
I'm going to count that off on the final, but keep listening and you'll pick it up. Dapper Dan's All Original Dastardly Discount Dad Jokes. Yes, right. I can say that real fast as many times as I want, but just try saying socialization. That was luck. So.
And yes, people, I know this is for kids, but I don't care. I grew up with these fake title belts, so.
Yeah, and if you're a listener and you think you got what it takes to come and take that title away from Dan, well.
I have 3 words. Just Bring it.
I mean, we've got no feedback, so you'll be the first. But I know we've got some hardcore fans. We've got some hardcore fans in India. We've got some at least hardcore fan in Belgium. We've got our fans in America.
Yep.
You guys are hearing this. I know you're hearing this. You're listening. So, come on, give us a holler. Follow us on one of them shows or one of them socials that we're on.
Yeah.
And give us a shout and say, hey, I'm that guy from that country that you keep talking about, like I'm your friend. I'm not your fucking buddy pal, but I'm gonna come on there and I'm gonna take that fucking belt away. And
yeah, for the listening audience, sorry, that was a WWE Fake Kids title belt that I displayed for the viewing audience.
Oh yeah, I forget that some people might be just listening.
Yeah, my bad.
I waffled back and forth between even putting these on the podcast, but I felt like it'd be like weird if I didn't have them all on there. Anyways, we are now at the end. So sad. Big sigh.
Well,
As frustrating as it is playing and as nerve-wracking as it is when I'm, thinking about how much it sucked, it is sad when the end comes, and I'm glad that we have that dad joke to keep us a little bit uplifted as we go out amongst this world and deal with these crazy, crazy people and these wonderful kids that are just as crazy from time to time. But
yeah.
Until next time, we do appreciate you guys coming back around. Thank you for joining us for our video episodes.
Yeah.
These are getting more views than I expected, considering their video of us. And
just BSing, really.
yeah, I don't know why you'd want to see video of us, but hey, right on, man.
Well,
right on.
We got some good stuff though.
Yeah, I mean, if you like,
we're not just BSing.
If you like that good daddy content, hey, bring it.
What is it that you used to say? The good
stuff full of father, sir.
No. Bringing the good daddy something.
The good daddy juice?
Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah, we bring strong daddy juice.
Yeah.
And we just fill you full of it. You're spurting with daddy juice when we're done with you. It's like a brand new man. It's like a Brooks and Dunn song. So with that, I do appreciate you guys. We are gonna go a little shorter this time. That's the way the game rolls when you've only got 2 players instead of 3. Things don't take as long to finish up. So with that, I am your host. I am your digital daddy. I'm your How do I do it again? I'm your online in-law.
Yeah.
I am Corey.
And I am Dan.
And we will check you later.
Check you later.
And that is going to do it for our Spotify, Apple podcast, and for our YouTube podcast. Hey, you guys, you're the special ones. You keep us getting up. You keep me from committing suicide every day. If it wasn't for you, fuck it. I don't care if I got a son or a wife or a home or friends. Offing myself. Done. Don't even care. So that's a lot of pressure on you guys. Don't let that bother you, and don't disappoint, because then you'll have a life on your hands. And I might kill Dan too, because the cool thing is murder suicide. So, like and share.
I just started watching. Speaking of that, I just started watching the Chris Benoit story.
So you know all about it then.
Well, I fell asleep watching it because it was 3:00 this morning.
Because it's just so exciting that you.
Well, it is exciting. I was just exhausted, but
You also know how it's going to end.
Well, yeah. I mean, that was.
It's not happy.
I don't remember how long ago that was, but yeah, I remember how that was.
Yeah. It's going to end the same way every time.
I remember the Raw the next day, and I actually remember watching that pay-per-view that he was supposed to.
I think I watched the pay-per-view because I remember being confused
because it was Johnny Nitro, John Morrison or whatever. It was Johnny Nitro, but they changed his name to
John Morrison.
John Morrison, yeah. And he came out, and everybody was like, even me, I'm like, what the hell? Like, it's supposed to be Benoit.
Yeah.
And then a couple days later, they're like, oh, by the way, in loving memory of, and then now they've scrubbed him from,
Yeah, good luck finding him on WWE.
Well,
I guess he is on all those shows, but they don't have any, like,
in memory of.
Yeah, none of that stuff. They don't celebrate it.
He won't be in the Hall of Fame.
No. Like, they're not going to take him off, like, SummerSlam 2003 or whatever. But
oh, no, because I've gone back to, I'm in 2001 right now, and he's in the thick of it.
So, go murderers. That's why I feel I will be celebrated if I kill myself and Dan. Maybe the podcast will be a hit then. Maybe Sam could take it and run with it if we kill it ourselves. Anyway, YouTube listeners, that's on you. That's all on you. So like, share, and subscribe, and hit that notify bell, which that's new to me. I didn't think that mattered, but I guess you want to know when things come out. So do that too.
Yep.
And with
that's a big YouTube thing.
Yeah, that's a big YouTube thing. That's why we're saving that for you guys. Yeah, YouTube.
You get the special stuff.
So I guess I don't have anything else for the YouTube guys either, and gals, such as they are. I'm sure there's a ton of you gals watching the podcast for dads.
Yeah.
But anything else from you?
Nope.
All right. Now I'm going to stand up here and swallow the camera while I hit stop. I didn't.
I want you to know it's over.
Well, bye. You smell that, Bill? Smells like someone died.
Gonna suck on occasion.
Yeah, well said.